You're lying. My husband's voice echoed through the silent courtroom as he pointed directly at me. The judge looked over his glasses. My mother-in-law smirked from the front row. She's done this for years, my husband said. She knows exactly how to fake it. For one terrifying second, I thought they had won. Then my knees buckled. The courtroom blurred. Before I hit the floor, someone in a decorated military uniform rushed forward. Your Honor, he shouted, checking my pulse. This woman isn't pretending. The room froze. 10 seconds later, the judge stood up, and my husband's entire case began falling apart. The morning my divorce hearing began, I stood outside the courthouse staring at my reflection in the glass doors, wondering how 21 years of marriage could end with one word. Liar. That was what my husband intended to call me in front of everyone. My name is Captain Emily Carter. I served 12 years in the U.S. Army Medical Service Corps before a serious training accident forced me into medical retirement. From the outside, I looked perfectly healthy. That was the problem. Not every injury leaves a scar people can see. Some days I could walk for miles. Other days, my legs felt like they belonged to someone else. My doctors called it a rare neurological condition caused by spinal trauma. It came without warning. Stress often made it worse. My husband, Daniel, had been beside me when military doctors first explained the diagnosis. He held my hand. He promised we'd face it together. Somewhere along the way, that promise disappeared. At first, it was little comments. You seem fine today. You were laughing 5 minutes ago. If you're really sick, why don't you look sick? His mother, Margaret, encouraged every doubt. I've known women like her, she'd whisper during family dinners. They love attention. The moment people stop looking, another illness appears. Daniel never defended me. Eventually, he started repeating her words. The distance between us grew quietly, almost politely. We stopped eating dinner together. Conversations turned into arguments. Arguments became silence. Then one afternoon, he asked for a divorce. I thought it would be painful. I never imagined it would become public humiliation. Daniel wasn't just ending our marriage. He wanted the court to believe I'd spent years exaggerating my medical condition so I wouldn't have to work. His attorney argued I was fully capable of supporting myself and didn't deserve the financial settlement our years together had built. According to them, every doctor's appointment, every emergency room visit, every difficult day had been part of an elaborate performance. As I entered the courtroom, I felt dozens of eyes follow me. Daniel sat confidently beside his lawyer, wearing the same calm smile I'd once trusted without question. His mother occupied the front row behind him. The moment she saw me, she leaned toward a relative and whispered something that made both of them laugh. I lowered my eyes and walked to my seat. For the first time since this nightmare had begun, I honestly wondered if everyone in that courtroom already believed I was exactly what my husband claimed. A liar. The hearing moved faster than I expected. Daniel's attorney painted a picture of me that barely resembled the woman I knew. Mrs. Carter has created a pattern, he said confidently. Whenever responsibility appears, another medical episode conveniently follows. Daniel nodded. Then he looked directly at the judge. I loved her once, Your Honor, he said, sounding almost sincere. But after years of watching these performances, I finally realized she's lying to everyone, including herself. His words landed like stones. Margaret dabbed fake tears from her eyes. I told my son for years, she said from the gallery after being called to testify. Emily always knew exactly when to collapse, exactly when people were watching. Several people in the courtroom quietly nodded. I wanted to defend myself. Instead, I focused on breathing. The pressure inside my chest had been building since that morning. My vision blurred for just a second. I reached for the edge of the table. Daniel noticed. There, he said with a small laugh. Watch this. He turned toward the judge. She's about to fake another episode. A few people actually smiled. I opened my mouth to speak. Nothing came out. A wave of dizziness slammed into me so suddenly that the room seemed to tilt sideways. The judge frowned. Mrs. Carter? I tried to answer. Instead, my knees gave way beneath me. The floor rushed upward. Someone in the gallery whispered, She's pretending. Another voice muttered, "Right on cue." Then everything became distant. Before I hit the ground completely, someone caught my shoulder. A firm, steady voice cut through the confusion. "Move back." The command carried the unmistakable authority of someone trained for emergencies. A man wearing a decorated army medical uniform knelt beside me. He checked my pulse. His expression changed instantly. "This isn't a performance," he said sharply. He looked toward the bench. "Your Honor, I'm Colonel Nathan Brooks, Chief of Military Neurology at Walter Reed. I was here today to testify in another case." He gently examined my pupils before checking the strength in my hands. "She's experiencing an acute neurological episode." The courtroom fell silent. Daniel's confident smile disappeared. Colonel Brooks looked directly at him. "Were you aware your wife has a documented service-related neurological condition?" Daniel hesitated. I don't know what records you're talking about." The colonel's eyes narrowed. "I do." He stood and faced the judge. "Your Honor, I've personally reviewed Captain Carter's military medical history. Her diagnosis was confirmed years ago after extensive testing. Stress can trigger sudden loss of motor control, exactly like what you've just witnessed." The judge immediately set down his pen. "No further testimony until medical assistance arrives." Then he turned toward Daniel. "Mr. Carter." His voice became noticeably colder. "If these records say what Colonel Brooks claims they do, we're about to have a very different hearing." Paramedics arrived within minutes, but Colonel Brooks remained beside me, calmly explaining my condition while they checked my blood pressure and oxygen levels. "I'm stable," I whispered. "You are," he replied. "But your body has reached its limit." The judge postponed the hearing for nearly an hour. When court resumed, everything felt different. The whispers were gone. The smirks had disappeared. Even Margaret avoided looking in my direction. Colonel Brooks took the witness stand. He placed a folder on the evidence table before raising his right hand and taking the oath. "Captain Emily Carter served honorably for 12 years, he began. "Her neurological condition resulted from a documented training accident while on active duty." He explained the diagnosis in plain language. "The injury affected the communication between my brain and parts of my nervous system. Most days, I function normally. Under severe physical or emotional stress, however, my muscles could suddenly fail without warning." "It isn't visible," he said. "That doesn't make it imaginary." The judge listened carefully. "So this episode today?" "It matches her documented medical history exactly," Colonel Brooks answered. "In fact, it is consistent with years of military treatment records." Daniel's attorney slowly stood. "Doctor, is it possible Mrs. Carter exaggerated these symptoms during her marriage?" Colonel Brooks didn't hesitate. "No." He opened another document. "Mr. Carter attended multiple medical consultations while Captain Carter was receiving treatment. His signature appears on several visitor acknowledgments and family counseling summaries." The courtroom became silent again. The judge turned toward Daniel. "You were aware of your wife's diagnosis?" Daniel stared at the papers. Finally, he nodded. "I knew she had medical issues." The judge's expression hardened. "That's not what you claimed under oath." Daniel couldn't answer. Margaret quietly lowered her head. For the first time all day, no one defended them. After reviewing the medical evidence, the judge spoke with calm authority. "This court finds Captain Carter's medical condition to be fully supported by credible documentation." He paused before continuing. "Attempts to portray her documented disability as deception seriously damaged the credibility of the testimony presented against her." The remainder of the hearing was surprisingly brief. The divorce settlement reflected the facts instead of accusations, and the judge reminded both parties that honesty is essential in every courtroom. As everyone began leaving, Colonel Brooks walked over. "You served your country with honor," he said. "Today, you didn't need to prove your worth. You only needed the truth to be heard." I thanked him with tears in my eyes. 6 months later, my life looked completely different. Proper treatment, physical therapy, and a peaceful home helped me regain confidence I thought I'd lost forever. Looking back, I realized something important. Lies can be loud. They can fill a courtroom. They can even sound convincing for a while. But the truth doesn't need the loudest voice. It only needs the chance to stand, and once it does, no lie can remain standing beside it.